What's going on, everyone? Thank you all so very much for joining in. I am solo tonight. There is a television show that I watched basically all during Thanksgiving. Seriously, I watched it all in one day. It had actually two seasons. It was the first time that I heard about it. Thanksgiving Day was the first time that I'd ever seen an episode. Didn't know that it was in season two, right? So, what I'm talking about is One of Us is Lying. All right. So, I'm really just going to recap episode one of season one of One of Us is Lying. And automatically, let me say this. One of the first few utterances in this particular episode, I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Is this Gossip Girl?
Guys, take off the board shorts. Girls, pack up those bikinis. Summer's officially over and school is back in session. You know what that means. So am I. As long as we are forced to coexist in the hellscape that is high school, I am going to reveal the truth about all of you miserable assholes.
I thought it was Gossip Girl. That's a callback to about, I don't know, maybe about 15 years ago. And of course, some of you who have HBO Max, you're watching Gossip Girl right now. But it reminded me of old school Gossip Girl, just in the way that, he was telling people how he outed them for this and outed him for that. The difference, though, is that this particular character is out. Everyone knows exactly who he is, right? Loud and proud. He's doing his thing. He's exposing people left and right. So he has an app, no longer a blog. It's a 100% an app, right? People are getting notifications. And he starts off by basically saying there are four people, and he gives a description of these four people and how, by a certain amount of time, he's going to call them out for the things that they have done. And of course, they show each character reading, that message. And each one of them is kind of like, oh, wow. Except for one. Nate is kind of like, where? Nate is like, whatever. Nate is the resident bad boy, like, for real. Like, he is the resident bad boy. In fact, the first time that we see Nate, we see him basically rolling out of someone's bed. And this someone is actually in college, right? Nate is a high school, I'm assuming senior. I think they're seniors, right? They attend Bayview High. Now, first time I heard Bayview, I was like, hold up, wait a minute. Bayview High. Why does that sound familiar? Okay, so it wasn't Bayview, but it was real close. Saved by the Bell, right? Anyway, just a whole lot of callbacks in this particular show, like, for real. Like, it just made me think about some shows that I grew up watching. Right? So let's talk about some of these characters. In episode one, we don't really know who the main characters are. We have an idea of who the main characters are, especially after a particular scene. But they're showing us these characters, and we're learning a little bit about some of these characters. So the first one is Bronwyn. We can clearly tell that she's from Hispanic descent. We see her mother and her father. We see her sister, Maeve. Maeve is going to be important. Bronwyn is a straight A student, right? And basically, he's accusing, he meaning Simon. Simon is Gossip Girl. Simon is accusing Bronwyn of cheating, right? The subtext is clear. The subtext is very, very clear. He's saying that Bronwyn has cheated. And of course, Maeve, she hands her sister. Maeve is her sister. Maeve hands her the phone and is just like, hey, have you seen this? You need to know. Next, we see Cooper, right? So Cooper is the athlete. In fact, we see him running, and he has the body, to prove it. Cooper is also a black guy. We learn that Cooper has a secret. We don't know what the secret is. The subtext is not 100% clear, but me and the way that I think, I'm automatically thinking, oh, he's gay. I have no idea, but that's what I'm thinking, right? Major League scouts are going to be looking at him. Major League. I was just like, Major League? Like, from high school to Major League? Like, is he really that good? Like, for real? Major League? High school? Major League? I don't know. But maybe, Oh, I forgot to mention that Bronwyn, she's attempting to apply to college. She wants to go to Yale, right? So that's her deal, right? All right. The next character that we see is Addy. Now, Addy is supposed to be the beautiful cheerleader, and that she is. She is like, she's beautiful. She's, she has blonde hair, long, beautiful blonde hair. And she herself, she's a very attractive young lady. She's also dating a baseball player by the name of Jake. But Simon is insinuating that she cheated. Okay. Now, we don't really know, or I should say, no one else really knows that it's Addy. No one really knows that. But of course, we're seeing Addy, and so of course we know, oh, he's talking about Addy. This must have really happened, because at least so far, we have no reason to believe that he's lying, right? I mean, Gossip Girl. Did Gossip Girl really lie? Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, she might have misled, but I don't think she really out and out lied. Or Dan Humphries. I don't think that he out and out lied. So next we see the character. TJ is the guy that she slept with, and we can tell, boom, automatically. We know, because when she looks at TJ, her face is like, no, this can't be. This cannot be. And so next we meet Nate, right? Nate is the resident bad boy, 100% bad boy. Like I said before, rolling out of the bed with a college student. We also find out that Nate deals drugs. Okay. Yo, Nate is loose with the sex. Nate is loose with the sex. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Next, well, we've already talked about Maeve as well. So Maeve is the sister of Bronwyn. Finally, FJ. All right. So FJ is an Asian chick who is new to the school because she stabbed her teacher. Now, FJ, being new to the school, had no idea about this app, right? Everybody's getting these notifications, and like, she was like in the middle of a group of people and talking and having a good time, and then all of a sudden they read this app and everyone just disappears. Like, it was kind of funny. Bronwyn, a phone goes off in her bag. She's saying, no, this is not my phone. This really isn't my phone. And the teacher is not having it. Nah, you got detention. So later we see 5 people go into detention. Simon, Cooper, of course, Bronwyn, Nate, and Addy. So those 5 people all go to detention. At that point, wow, what a coincidence. Okay. But by the way, so this scene right here, like, they're all in detention. You got your resident bad boy, you got your you got your emo, you got all these different types of personalities all in this one room. And so it's just like, oh, this is giving me Breakfast Club from the 80s. I'm that old that I know about the Breakfast Club. Yes, I am. Okay. So all of a sudden, while they're in detention, some streakers, well, first they throw an egg at the window. Now, streakers, they're supposed to be naked. They weren't naked. They were wearing jock straps.
Oh my God. That's insane.
But of course, they're running. And so the teacher, the same teacher who gave Bronwyn the detention, is also the one who is watching detention. So because they've done this, the streakers, the teacher decides to leave the room to, apprehend the streakers. Yeah, okay, I was about to jump. All right, so, Simon is digging. Simon is digging at each one of these characters, like, in a major way. Like, he asks Cooper, like, do you recognize those asses? It's not funny, but it's funny. It's funny, really funny. I forget exactly what he tells Addy, but at the time I was like, ooh. Like you know how like sometimes like you tell a joke, like you're hinting at something, but the way in which he asked his questions, it was very clear what he was getting at every single time. It was very clear, or it should have been clear to everyone there. I don't know why they didn't catch on, but anyway, because everyone goes to look at the streakers. Before then, Simon was getting a cup of water, and he starts drinking the water. And while he's talking to them, asking them these questions, he's drinking the water. He starts to choke on the water. He says the water tastes funny. Chokes more. He falls down. He tells them, "Get my EpiPen." They're looking for the EpiPen. They can't find the EpiPen. I think it was Nate. Nate was like, "Hey, go run and get some EpiPens from the nurse's office." Coop runs back in and basically says there are no EpiPens in the nurse's office. Everyone is frantically trying to help Simon, right? Nate even gives him CPR, right? That, you know, most of them are freaking out, trying to help. Of course, Addy is the only one who's not. Like, for me, that didn't look suspicious in any kind of way. It really didn't. Only because, I don't know, like for a character like her, like my assumption is that she's been sheltered, and, you know, this is not the type of life that she lives. And so therefore, what would you expect of her? You don't expect anything, really. So eventually the paramedics get to the school. They take Simon. Simon is still alive, right? So Addy runs to Jake. Jake is on the field, and she's basically like saying, "Hey, you know, I like this happened to Simon. I froze. I couldn't do anything." Next, Cooper is basically working out. Keely, his girlfriend, she's an Asian chick. His girlfriend walks in and is basically like, you know, this rumor is going around. Do you think it's gonna land on you? And he was just like, hey, you know, basically the way that it was worded, it could have been about anybody. And just think about, you know, this summer, you know, anything could have happened. Anything could have happened. Might not necessarily have to do anything with me. Right. And then he gives her a kiss. And you're thinking, what in the libraries of confusion is happening in this moment? What is happening? Confused I was. Yeah. Okay. But what we do know between the two of them is that there is a secret that they are both hiding. Okay. All right. Gotcha. So later, Bronwyn and Nate are talking after school. And it is very clear to me in this particular moment that there are sparks between the two of them. Clear sparks. Not anything that anybody would ever like really notice, but I'm watching them and I'm just like, ooh, opposites do attract. Ooh. And I'm here for it. We learn through their discussion that Nate's mother has passed away. He gives her a ride home. He meaning Nate gives Bronwyn a ride home on his motorcycle. Yeah, that was sexy. That was sexy because she had to like hold him. You know, like she was like really scared. First of all, she didn't want to get on the motorcycle. When she got on the motorcycle, she didn't know that she should like really hold on to him. And he was like, "Nah, you're gonna have to hold on tighter than that." There was another like cute little thing that that little banter back and forth. Like, yeah, I like it fast. She was like, I like it slow. I was like, it was cute. All right. He takes her home. She gets a phone call from her mom. And her mom basically tells her that Simon has died. I'm thinking Bronwyn is the killer. Right. Only because she's smart and she doesn't show a whole lot of emotions. Now, if you're anything like me, like for most of my adult life, I really only started getting this, like, some ways into my adult life, where people would just be like, I can't read you. I can't read you. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what's going on in your head. Like, it's like, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, how could you not? Like, I could look at anybody and know whether or not they're mad, they're sad, they're glad, they're happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, just look at them. Just look at somebody. Like, you can tell these things. These things are easy. I will say, her emotions are hard to read. While I can read them, I can tell what's going on. Basically, she's thinking. She has put herself into a state of, like, I'm thinking, like what am I gonna do? Like, what, But people see that as no emotion. It's no emotion. That's not a lack of emotion. It's a whole lot of emotion. It's emotions that she's processing in that moment, while she's also trying to deal analytically with the issues that she has going on in her life at that particular moment. So on that level, I really do understand her character. She's not, however, the character that I am attached to at this point. Love interest, Nate, Nate. He is one of the characters that I'm attached to, and I'll explain why. Also, Addy and Coop, right? All three for different reasons. All three for different reasons. I'll explain. In the next scene, the principal has a gathering in the school's gym. And of course, our four principal people nervous, very nervous. In fact, they see Officer Miller. So Janae is Simon's best friend. She's also there. After the gathering in the gym, she sees Addy and Jake in the hall, and she goes up to Addy, and she's basically like, hey, you were there, right? Basically like, what happened? And of course, Addy is thinking that she's talking about, her, like her emotions. She was just like, no, I want to know about Simon. How was it for him? Did any of you even try to help him? Addy, she just kind of stood there. So of course, hearing that from Janae kind of like made her emotional. And to the rescue is Jake. Jake is like, nah, we're not even going there. Let's go. Which I thought in that moment, that was pretty cool. Like, that was cool. So the principal then over the intercom calls the four principal people, right? I've named them already. All right. So they go to the principal's office. They're now meeting with Officer Miller. All right. So Officer Miller asks to speak to them collectively, but she wants to speak to them one-on-one. But before she does that, she lets them know that, number one, Simon has died. He died because of peanut allergy. Some residue of peanut oil was in the cup. And so he died from that allergy. As she meets with them individually, she's questioning them about some peculiar situations that they've all been in individually. That really makes it look bad for them individually. Now, I do want to say this. Nate was upfront about everything. He was just like, yeah, I sold drugs. I was like, okay, Nate didn't do it. Nate did not do it. That's the only thing that I know. Nate did not do it. Can't be Nate, because Nate is too honest about everything. Too honest. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking in that moment. I love your boy Nate, and that is why I love Nate. Right? He's one of the three that I really love. The characters that I really love. She even brings up Simon's app to them. Right? So she asks Cooper. Basically, she was insinuating that he might be gay, and of course, he brushed it off. He's really good at brushing it off, and that's one thing that that gay people who live in a closet can do and do really well. They can brush off your questions. They have mastered how to do that. And that's because they've had to, like, they're living in a situation where that part of them cannot be shown, cannot be revealed. And so they know how to change the subject. They know how to use nuance to get away with things, and he gets away with that. So in the middle of questioning, we see a flashback of Bronwyn taking Simon's bag, right? And this is after all of them have been questioned, but she's talking to them collectively. We get this flashback of Bronwyn's taking Simon's bag, but in the flashback we don't see Nate, but Nate looks over at Bronwyn in that moment, which clues us in that Nate must know that she did take the laptop, but he doesn't say anything, right? He doesn't say anything. Your boy Nate is loyal. Another reason why I like your boy Nate. He's honest. He's loyal. Whew. All right. So Nate then decides he's going to go to Bronwyn's house. He likes her, y'all. It's clear to us that he likes her. More than that, he asks her for a tour of the house. He gets into her room and then he closes the door behind them. She's nervous. Then, they engage in some small talk. He is reminiscing about, their past. He's going all the way back to 5th grade, right? And she's like, wow, I can't believe that, you remember this. Or what they talked about, I don't know. I was like, dang, your boy has been liking her. Like, it's so clear he's been liking her. Like, of course he wasn't going to tell on her. Like, this is like deep-seated love, right? That she knows nothing about. And then, of course, she brings it up. Like, she was like, do you think the cops suspect us? And he was like, oh, yeah, they suspect us. Of course they suspect us, but you have nothing to worry about. They're gonna pin it all on me because I'm the resident bad boy. Right? You goody two shoes, straight A student. It ain't falling on you. It's falling on me. However, what you did with that bag? What bag? I ain't got no bag. I suggest you walk that bag over to Simon's house, give it to their parents, and hope they don't, assume anything worse. Of course, her parents come and they can't talk any further, right? It's probably a good thing that they didn't, because it probably wouldn't have ended well. Cooper's brother walks into Cooper's room and he immediately, like brothers, right? Like he called, what did he call him? Nut bag, nut sack, whatever, something like that. And I'm like, ooh, his brother just don't know. But his brother does know, which I thought was like amazing. Like, man, a brother telling another brother, like, what? And you can clearly see like there's an age difference between the two of them. Cooper's brother is like, dude, like, when are you gonna tell Keely? Like, it's about time. This girl really loves you, man. And he told his brother, dude, she already knows about me. She knows ain't nothing happening. And the brother was like, oh, you told Keely before you told me? Y'all, let me tell you something. I must have told like 20, 30, 50 people before I told anybody in my family. It just wasn't going down like that. It just wasn't. No. Right? In fact, the first person I told was this white boy in college. Next scene, Nate goes to his house. We see his dad passed out on the couch. And by looking at the house, we can tell that Nate's situation financially is not the same as everyone else's. What I neglected to say was that pretty much everyone else, all of the other characters, have pretty nice homes, with the possible exception of Cooper's family. Clearly, it's a middle class type of home, but definitely better than Nate's home, right? In fact, if I had to say, I would venture to say, because I wasn't paying attention, right? I wasn't paying attention. I could just looking at the house, looked like a trailer. Probably not, but it was so small. Like, everything about it to me was just small. So I don't know. Very small house or trailer. All right. Oh, also, Nate has a pet, a reptile. Nate gets a call, or a text rather. He has to deliver some drugs to the same girl who he was rolling out of bed with. So he delivers the drugs. She's trying to like get him to stay. And he's like, nah, can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. He leaves. He gets jumped by her boyfriend or her whatever. And her boyfriend's friend. And not only did he get jumped, punched, knocked in the eye, but they stole his money. Switching stories. Next scene, Jake, Addy's boyfriend, hosts a small pool party with Addy, Keely, TJ, Cooper, and Vanessa. They are basically talking about the situation with Simon. They're making light of it. So next scene, Bronwyn has a boyfriend named Evan. Now, look, so there used to be this TV show called Pandora, and I promise you, I only watched Pandora because I wanted to see this guy, the guy who's playing the character of Evan. I just wanted to see him. I just wanted to see him, and it wasn't that I thought he was a great actor, because I didn't think that he was. I thought the writing on that show was horrible, god awful. He basically took his shirt off all the time. And I was there for it. Like, I just wanted to see. You take your shirt off. When you take your shirt off, I want to see you take your shirt off. But he's here in One of Us Is Lying, and he is the boyfriend of Bronwyn. They were together in a scene much earlier, but I didn't necessarily get that vibe, or maybe I wasn't paying attention. But I do know they were in a scene much earlier. But it is very clear in this scene that, you know, their boyfriend and girlfriend. And clearly Evan, the guy playing Evan, is a black guy. By the way, he reminds me of Tevin Campbell back in the early 90s. That's what he looks like. He looks like, you know, what Tevin Campbell would have looked like in his 20s, late 20s, if we had, like, if he hadn't been caught in New Orleans doing what he was doing in New Orleans. Next scene. Nate, you know, there's a lot of scenes with Nate. I didn't realize how important Nate's character was to the first episode. Anyway, so Nate sees Bronwyn and Evan at the football game, and you know they smile at each other, and he turns around, and then all of a sudden she disappears, and he gets this urge to contact the young lady who had propositioned him earlier, and asked her, you know, hey, basically, you know, what are you doing? You know what that is. All right. And so in that moment, what that reminded me of was, you know, that constant need for attention and or validation. He seems to get that from physical contact, sex. If he doesn't get that attention that he needs from the person that he's identified, then he seeks it out from others. And so that is a bit destructive. Next scene. We see Cooper meeting Chris. First time that we've been introduced to this particular character, Chris. Chris is basically the love interest of Cooper. Chris is a college student. Dun, dun, dun. He's a college student, same college as the young lady who propositioned Nate. While everyone reads about that app, basically what's happening on About app is someone is confessing to the murder of Simon. While this is happening, we clearly see Addy in the pool, in Jake's pool. At this time, Jake has a big party. So there was a tribute to Simon at the later that night. Jake had a party at his house. And we clearly see Addy in the pool, and it looks like, you know, she's feeling some kind of way about everything that's happening. While she's swimming, notifications start going off. Everyone is getting a notification. And so, at least to me, it seems like, oh, it can't be Addy. It cannot be Addy, right? Because we saw. So in the app, the particular person who is saying that they've killed him, they're saying, hey, look, basically what they're saying is, I'm going to get away with it because so many people hated Simon. They're not going to know who to look for. Like, there's so many different people who did not like Simon. They're not going to look for me, or they're not going to know to zero in on me. Right. So while this is happening, while we're hearing the person read this on the app, at this point, Bronwyn has read the message herself. So what she's doing is she's looking for the laptop. She hid it in her parents' car. cannot find the laptop. The episode ends there. Y'all, let me tell you, this particular episode. So I watched, as I said before, I watched season 1, season 2, and this is a show that I cannot wait for. I cannot wait for the next season of One of Us is Lying. Now, I'm going to cover the next episode. It might be a week. It might be a while before I cover it. But man, this show is really, really good. If you're not watching it, I'd really do suggest that you start watching it because it is that good. And perhaps next time I'll have some video to show you. I might even throw some videos in this particular episode. Who knows? As always, thank you so very much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Oh, also, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. Yeah. Share. All right.